Hi guys, my name is Eunice, and today I just want to share my story with you about what God has been doing in my life. Basically, it's just a journey in my faith where God has called me and I responded, and hopefully this will encourage some of you to respond to God's calling in your life. But yeah, here's my story, and hopefully you can take something out of it. So just a little background for you guys. I grew up in a Christian household, and basically I've been to church my whole life. But I only came to Christ on a personal term in 2016, and that was also when I got baptized. So the story that I want to share with you guys today is not really about how I came to Christ, but it's more about how I responded to God's calling. So this story starts from 2018, and that year was my last year of high school. Basically, towards the end of the year, I was faced with the question of what's next, because everyone else around me was hardcore applying for uni. They were writing their CVs, they were researching for what courses that they want to do, and they seemed to know where they were going with their life. But for me, I only had one thought. I only thought to myself that what else can I do besides dance? So just a background story. I love dancing. It's probably the only hobby that I've kept doing since young. I don't do it professionally though, but I just really appreciate the art of it. At that point, I thought to myself that, I would just go to uni, do a degree on dance, get properly trained, and then probably come out and be a professional dancer. So this one night, it was a Wednesday night, because I remember my parents were out, and I was worshiping by myself. I was praying to God, I was kneeling down praying to God, and during that prayer, God was calling me to something. God was calling me to somewhere. And I didn't know what it was, because I could just feel that God was calling me. And in that prayer, I responded to God saying that I know that you're calling me. I know that you're calling me to somewhere, but I don't know what it is. But I'm willing to go. So wherever you call me, I'm willing to go. And so I guess that prayer was a prayer of responding to God's calling. It was also me saying to God that I'm willing to do whatever that you call me to do. I want to dedicate my life to you. I want to take up my cross to follow you. So after that night, nothing dramatic has happened in my life. At that time, I was still applying for dance at uni. And then a thought came into my mind, which was Bible college. And I remember at that moment, I was like, yeah, right. I guess at that time, my understanding of Bible college is that it's for people that's, spiritually next level, and it's for like more holy people. Like, it just wasn't for me, I guess. And so I told myself, no, this is yeah, no, it's not that, no. But that thought kept looping in my head, to a point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna have a look, I'm just gonna do some research on it. There's no harm to that. Like, so at that time, I kept this whole thing just between me and God. I didn't share it with my parents. I'm really close to my parents, but I didn't tell them anything about it. I didn't tell my friends, I didn't tell anyone about this. I guess my intention was that I really wanted to walk with God alone through this. I really wanted to, I guess, avoid all the other voices around me, but to just listen to God's voice. So what I ended up doing was I just decided that I will apply for Bible college only. So I didn't apply for dance. And I believe that that was the decision that God has revealed to me. And yeah, it was definitely a nerve-wracking thing to do, because I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have a backup plan. It was definitely a leap of faith for me, I would say. So just before I sent out my application to Bible college, I decided that it would be a good time to tell my parents, tell my friends, and tell my pastors about it. So I told my parents. They were super supportive. Then I also told my close friends one by one, asking them to keep me in prayer as well. And they were all really, really supportive of my decision. And then I told my pastors about it, and they were also just really encouraging. So right now I'm in my second year of studying applied theology, specialized in youth pastoral leadership. I just want to say that it's been an incredible journey of learning more about God and a much deeper level. I guess the most rewarding thing is meeting people that love God. Man, you just get so inspired by their stories and how they've come to where they are now, and just hearing their stories of being called by God and submissively responding to that calling. So that's pretty much it for my story, but I guess I just really want to use this to encourage you guys to be attentive to God's voice and to be responsive to God's calling, because every hour that you spend on Bible reading, every afternoon that you spend on prayer is an opportunity for God to speak to you. And I can tell you that you'll never regret saying yes to God. You'll never regret choosing God over other things, because it's such an exciting journey. Like in nowadays, we are so careful with our decision making. We are so careful in measuring the pros and cons of each option, because we're so scared of regretting. We're so scared of losing something if we do make that decision. But way more pros and cons of following Christ. I guess the only con that you can consider is you might have to give up your dream. You might have to give up your high-paid job. You might have to give up your comfort. But when you are in that journey with God, you realize these means nothing. And I guess one of the biggest things that I learned from this is that whatever you give up for God, God will give you so much more. I guess from my story, it seems like I gave up dance for God. I gave up this potential career for God. But now that I look back, like God has given me so much more than what I've given up to Him. And there's no way that I can measure that. And I know that not everyone is called to Bible college, not everyone is called to full-time ministry, and that's okay, because God has a different plan for you, and that is still a very exciting plan. But the same thing is that you are still called. You're still called to take up your cross to follow God in whatever way it may be. I just really want to encourage you and to remind you that your life can be abundant, your life can be fruitful, but only because of Christ. So thank you guys for listening to my story. If you have any stories or testimonies that you want to share, I'm really keen on listening to them. But yeah, I really hope that we can all go on this journey together for Christ and to encourage one another in this journey as well.